After her initial hookup with Allan, Candy takes a shower at the beginning of Love and Death episode 2. She is pleasantly delighted to learn that, contrary to her presumption, Allan is good in bed. Announcing that he is running late for work, Allan joins her in the shower. Candy gives Allan a thank you, before continuing on with their normal week. The following Sunday during church, Jackie is bid farewell by the chorus team. Ron and his wife Mary, the congregation's new pastors, are introduced by Jackie. The only person who appears to be upset about Ron joining the parish is Betty. Betty observes Candy and Allan sharing amorous glances, as she complains about Jackie leaving them. She calls them out, but doesn't seem to take it seriously. One of their typical hookup days a week later, Candy arranges a different motel for Candy and Allan to meet at. The two reconnect and talk about Betty's problems with change and how being pregnant has made her hormonal are some of the details Allan offers. Allan remembers Betty's recent altercation with Ron and her physical abuse of him. He feels bad and blames himself for leaving Betty to handle everything by herself. Candy continues, saying that she, too, would never want Pat to suffer harm. Even so, they have intercourse, and Candy tells Sherry about the encounter. Sherry still finds it difficult to believe that she thinks Allan's sex is truly excellent, despite her admission. The doctor advises Betty that although her pregnancy is proceeding normally, the baby could experience problems due to her high blood pressure as the months go by. The romance continues, and Candy appears to be having a great time spending so much time with Allan. After one of their hookup sessions one afternoon, Candy questions Allan about Betty's affair. According to Allan, Betty confessed to the affair after feeling guilty, which is how he learned about it, because they go to fairs and spend a lot of time together. Allan and Candy appear to be doing a lot more than just hooking up. Candy, meanwhile, is winning Betty over by giving her a gift that she truly desired for her baby shower. Ron appears to be an ineffective pastor, and the church's Sunday services appear to be declining. Ron and his sermons are discussed by Allan and Candy as being bad. Allan adds that since Betty would be giving birth, he and Candy should postpone their hookups because he wants to be nearby in case she needs him. Candy consents and guarantees to support Betty if necessary. Candy discovers all of a sudden that her feelings for Allan are growing deeper. She receives assurance from Allan that nothing will go wrong, and that she shouldn't be concerned. One evening at supper, Candy informs Pat that the Gores were considering leaving the church, and he explains that it was because of Pastor Ron's preaching. Betty snaps at Ron one evening during a council meeting. Allan replies that Betty was behaving out as she was getting close to giving birth. When Candy inquires as to what was wrong with her, Candy confesses to Allan her concern about falling in love with him. He claims that having an affair with Candy had somehow improved his friendship with Betty. Candy explains to him that their first rule was to break things off when they became too intimate. The Gore family leaves the Methodist church to attend another one. As the program transitions to Betty giving birth to a baby girl, Candy and Allan's relationship is still going strong. Candy and her family are among the church members invited by the Gores to visit the newborn. Allan explains to Candy that he and Betty intended to take the infant away so that he might meet his parents. Candy consents to their meeting on a different day, but she appears disappointed that Allan canceled their planned date. As the week progresses, Candy appears to be getting uncomfortably accustomed to Allan's absence. They get together for another hookup once he returns. When Pat tells Betty one night how lovely she looked, she begins to feel bad about cheating on him. Betty tries to make love to her husband in the meantime, but Allan rejects her and says he's weary. Betty interprets the scenario incorrectly and assumes that Allan does not want to bet her now that she is obese following the birth of their second child. The following day, Allan meets Candy for lunch at a diner and asks her to call it quits as a result of her shock. Candy makes a scene in public. Allan explains that after spending the night with Candy, he's exhausted and cannot focus on his wife. After deciding to slow down the dialogue, Candy screams and they decide to end it. After several months have passed, Allan calls Candy and asks to have dinner with her. When they first meet, Allan describes Betty's postpartum incident, given that their daughters were friends. Allan asks Candy if she would be comfortable watching the kids. A marital meeting would put a stop to their affair, so Candy is astonished. She nevertheless agrees to assist them by watching the kids. At the meeting, Betty and Allan have very good luck, and they begin speaking to one another. Candy also informs Sherry that Betty will profit from the sexual techniques she has taught Allan. When Candy receives a request from Sherry to spend the evening out at a club, they decide to leave Pat in charge of the 4 children. Betty asks Allan if he feels sexual attraction for her during the marital encounter, and they talk about their sexual troubles. He acknowledges that he is, and they then engage in sexual act. Betty and Allan reaffirm their vows. At the conclusion of the conversation before departing for their house, when Candy notices Betty and Allan are so close, she appears to be in a bad mood. Betty suggests to Candy and Pat that they attend one of these events together, and Pat raves about the event. As the episode comes to a close, Candy goes insane and begins violently mincing meat.